Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, I hope that you enjoyed yesterday's proceeding, which I found extremely productive, as well as the magnificent gala dinner at the art restaurant Manes last evening. It is my great honor and pleasure to launch the second day of our proceeding with such a distinguished speaker and also a supporter of our Institute's Security Scholars Program in the past 3 years, Lieutenant General Karel Řehka, the Chief of the General Staff of the Czech Armed Forces. He possesses a truly exceptional and extensive military background. His deployment have included Kosovo Force and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan in 2004. General Řehka was likewise commander of the Czech Special Operations Task Force of the International Security Assistance Force in 2011. He served in many other important professional positions, including as director of the Czech National Cyber and Information Security Agency. He is the recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Czech Armed Forces Medal of Merit, the Cross of Merit of the Ministry of Defense of the Czech Republic. In short, we couldn't have wished for a better speaker to kick off the second days of our proceedings. Lieutenant General Řehka, you have the floor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. When I hear the introduction, I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but it was probably me. To be honest, I came here and I was told I should open today's session with talking about space. And I had no idea what I'm going to talk about, quite honestly. I can tell you I'm the person with the mostly special operations background, but also a little bit in cyber and general in military. And I have very little about space, but one thing I know is that space is important for military operations. And it's becoming increasingly important. When we look at the warfare, it's normally from certain angle of view, it's constant for centuries. So the so-called nature of war is the same. So we have still the fog of war. We have this friction. People have the fear, the hater. All the principles like objective, mass, maneuver, whatever, it still is the same, and you can apply it in pretty much every conflict. But then you have this character which is changing gradually, and I think right now we are in the period where we used to have those, the revolutions in military affairs. There's arguments in between historians whether it's correct, whether it's revolutions or it's more evolution. But one thing is sure that the warfare is changing very fast now. And we can see it in Ukraine, but also in other places. And I think right now we have the period of maybe a decade when we need to grasp the new technologies. And the technologies are already there. Just like in the beginning of Second World War, there was a lot of the Germans started with this blitzkrieg and everyone was surprised, but they used mostly technologies which were there already for some time, and they were there in the First World War, a lot of them. But they were the first ones who understood, who could put it all together, who could connect it with the doctrine, organization, with the leadership, with the training and everything, and they can use it effectively. And I think we are in the same place right now with this new disruptive, as we call it, technologies, but also with the new domains and environments. So when we combine these new domains like a cyber and space, with those new technologies like big data analysis, artificial intelligence, quantum, whatever, then I think this will create the massive advantage. And whoever it is already there, it is already widely used in civilian space, but whoever will be able to tackle this first will get a very significant advantage. And without being a technical geek or understanding space or artificial intelligence or whatever, I can understand this very clearly because that I can see it every day when I look at different conflicts, and it's very obvious and it's very clear. We in military was in history was driving a lot of the developments with these, whatever military food rations or whatever, a lot of technologies were developed as a consequence of war. But now it's quite opposite. So usually the civilian space, and especially in the technology sphere, is much faster, and military is trying to catch up. And when I look at, going back a few years, 20 years or whatever, when I was, let's say, team commander in special forces, I had very, very little equipment, and especially being connected information-wise, it was very complicated. I had this old HF radio and VHF radio and a little bit of night vision, GPS, which was very, very bad, very inaccurate, and that was it. When I look today, what I have in my cell phone, in an iPhone, when I can find where I am, I can navigate. I have the satellite pictures in. I can get in chat very easily. I can use encrypted communication and everything. This is the speed of development, and we still in military. What I have as a civilian on the street with my iPhone, I don't have the same comfort in the military still. And I think we have a lot to catch up, to use all these technologies which are already available and use it properly. In the space, that's again, that's a kind of wonderful word. A lot of people don't know exactly what to imagine when we talk about space, but actually it has a very specific impacts in military operations. So we use satellite communication, obviously, yes. We use the position, navigation, timing. We use the weather forecast, and we need some awareness of what's going on in space, so we know, how those tools which we are using are functioning and working. In a Czech military specifically, we are quite in the beginning with, grasping what the space can provide us, because we didn't have these ambitions, but it's not about ambitions. It's the same like the cyber, A few years ago, space was very strategic domain, same like a cyber. Cyber was usually recognized as something strategic or operational level. And if you are small military or if you work at the tactical level, usually you wouldn't think about it too much because you would just ask the higher commands to bring the effect. And usually it would be higher levels of command control. Today, this is very much changing. I mean, you have both in cyberspace, you have to have the awareness down to the tactical level, because you can just, if nothing else, for force protection, you can get so much information through cyberspace about the units in the field, what they do, about their intentions, and there's specific cases. And I think it's the same with the space. The space is, again, it's a new domain. It's usually a lot of soldiers think about it like it's something miracle. Usually it's a big powers like US or others, and usually it's a high level command control. But actually you can see the effects on the ground every day, and the accessibility of the tools is also increasing. For example, I had discussions with a few of the Czech companies which are working in space and some of the startups. And when they show me the products and what they can do with the commercial imagery combined with their software products and artificial intelligence, and how much accessible it is also cost-wise, the price. and what it can do. I can immediately imagine the direct tactical use if I was a brigade combat team commander, for example. And I can also immediately see how to imply it and how to put it down to the tactical level, how to integrate it in the staff and in the command control. But we're not there. We have to get there. So talking about the Czech Republic now, we're in the phase where we try to understand what space is, what it offers to military operation. Doesn't mean we don't do things. Yes, we do. We recently had an exercise with the Air Force when we, for example, tried the GPS jamming with the electronic warfare troops, and it worked pretty well. We are working on developing, for example, GPS antennas, which are more resistant against jamming. We are building this military satellite communication and increasing the capabilities. So we work with space and we interact with the space domain, but I think we still miss the complete picture and the complete integration of the knowledge of what space provides us. And obviously space provides us huge capabilities, but also when you rely on something and when something gives you huge capabilities, it creates vulnerabilities. So we also need to understand the vulnerabilities, and then also the combination of the space and the cyber domain, because they are interconnected, and you can attack space capabilities through cyber domain or vice versa. So I didn't know what I'm going to talk about. I came up with something. Finally. Okay, you kicked me out. So finally, I came up with something, but really, it's a pleasure and honor to be here. Hopefully I wasn't too confusing, but what I want to say, space is really important, not only for military, it's important for economy, for everything. I think, at least in Czech military, we start to understand how important it is. We do specific steps. Even at the strategic level, in general staff, we have people allocated, looking at space, studying it. We work on the doctrine. We try to interconnect things. We ask for support, our foreign partners, and we try to put this all together. I think these venues, like this one, are very important because we need to interact more with the industry and more with out of our stovepipes and talk to each other with others. So again, thank you very much for invitation. It's a pleasure to talk here, and I will have to leave at some point, but I'm also eager to listen to other speakers. Thank you.
So I'd like to take advantage of General Řehka being with us. So if you'd like to ask him a question, or we have a few minutes, so if anybody is interested. It doesn't have to be space. Dean?
General, thank you very much for your comments. You bring an operator's perspective experiences to this conference. I guess, given your position, given the realities of what you have seen, and very intriguing idea that cyber and space now have tactical effects, if there were one or two things that you could bring to the attention of your larger NATO partners, who I think too often have their very own different perspective, being larger and on high, what, from your personal experience and from the Czech military's experience, would you try to get across to them with regards to the utility and importance of space, given your operator's experience and also the Czech military experience?
That's a really hard question. Obvious answer. No, I don't know. I think space and cyber is an important and recognized domain, and we will have to work in it, and we have to we have to be able to use it properly. Being a small military with limited resources, and a lot of tasks, when we have to prioritize, I think we need to look for sustainable solutions and cost-effective solutions. And Czech Republic will probably not build a huge amount of very expensive satellites in a space. If someone tries to do it, sorry, maybe we will, but I wouldn't count on it. So I think we need to be smart. We need to be very smart. We need to be able to plug in existing solutions. We need to be able to create a synergy with our partners and allies, because we are too small to do it alone. And I think we need to understand. So if you don't have too much, power and tools and money, you need to be smarter. I think that's the main point. You need to be smarter. You need to have a good knowledge and see the opportunities, and you need to look for relatively cheap, cost-effective, and sustainable solutions. That's probably my point.
Thank you. So one more question. I know there is I'm Teresa Hitchens with Breaking Defense, and thank you for doing this. If you had one thing one space capability that you could get today or create, what would be your top priority? What would you want?
I didn't think about it too hard, so at past. So maybe if I think about it for half an hour, I would come up with something else. But there's no fighting or no functioning without command control, obviously, and there's no command control without communications. So I think the comms is definitely the most important. Then the navigation and time is equally important because of the first you need to get where you want to be, but second also there's a lot of weapon systems which use the satellite navigation, and the timing is also very critical, because without proper time you cannot synchronize the radios, for example, so you don't have the communication going back. Or if you go into economy, if you don't have the exact accurate time, or if you can kind of interfere with the exact time, you can. There's all the economic transactions. The central bank is dependable on the time. So this is also important. But we already have this. So if I want to wish something now, which we don't have or we don't work on already, that would be combination of imagery intelligence with the artificial intelligence, so we can save the sensors and the manpower and the people, and we can basically things like you look at the specific areas where you want to know when things are moving, for example, or when things are changing. And I think there's a lot of capabilities which space can offer. It's already there. It's commercially available, and we don't have it still. We don't have it at the appropriate level, at the down to tactical level. So that would be improvement for me right now at this point.